So this is the question that a lot of people have at the back of their mind when they're thinking about starting a business and they're working full time, but they're a little bit reluctant to say it out loud. And it's, is my job going to start treating me unfairly or differently if I start running my own business? That's the question. Let's have the conversation. If you are seeing me for the first time, welcome. I'm Rachel Charles and I'm a corporate career coach, consultant, and speaker. And I teach overwhelmed professionals how to go up the career ladder or transition out into businesses of their dreams without burnout. I help them put the plans and strategies in place that they need to build profitable and sustainable businesses so that they can start living a life that they design rather than the one prescribed. So this is a question that we really do have to consider. And like I said, it's usually in the back of most people's minds because our reputation is really important. And there may be many different questions that might be going around in your mind, but let's consider three of them. How will I be perceived? Will my motivation and loyalty be questioned? Will I now be closely monitored? And the answer to number one is not always favorably. And the answer to number two and three is unfortunately, most times, yes. And this is because your primary employer wants to know that they hired you for the job and you're going to be doing it to the fullest of your ability. Starting a business whilst working full time can make you feel as if you're no longer part of the team. Where you would expect to receive a congratulations on your new venture, you could instead be met with a frosty response. And you could also be met with a formal conversation about conflict of interest and whether or not you have the capacity to do both. Even though nothing may have changed for you in terms of how you're going to be approaching your job, others don't know that. And it can lead to you feeling quite isolated and not really part of the team. Starting a business is also very different to getting a promotion or going on to a different job. When you're starting a business, you can be treated very differently as opposed to getting a promotion or going into a different role. A few years ago, when I left one position and moved to another, my leaving due, even though it was within the same company, my leaving due had probably about 40 to nearly 50 people attending. When I left my full-time job after nearly 20 years to go it alone, this was about 2 years later, 10 people attended. And two of those were people who only came because they realized there were going to be drinks in the pub. There isn't that warm embrace. There is that feeling of abandonment and no longer being part of the team when you start a business. So the fact that all of these different things could happen, you want to be prepared. And here are 4 ways that you can be prepared for what might come next. Number one, get really clear on the policies. There may be things that you want to find out about in terms of conflict of interest and how your primary employer views a secondary employment. However, you need to look at what your business is and whether or not it's classed as a secondary employment. Don't get yourself involved in a conversation that doesn't need to be. Number 2, this goes without saying, but you really want to keep your work and business separate. Work time is for work. Do not be taking calls and sending emails for your business within work time. You really need to keep that for the time designated for doing your business. You don't want to be sneaking work time. And usually that's what some employers are worried about, that are you going to be running your business within working hours? And likewise, you really want to be boundaried about the time that you put aside for working on your business. You don't want work to infringe on that time. Be precious about your work time and be precious about your time that you're putting on your business. And if you want more tips and strategies about how to manage starting a business and working full time, look at the video that I did previously on how to manage your time when starting a business and working full time. Number 3, kind of related to number 2, is not using company equipment. So for example, making phone calls and using emails on company equipment. Avoid doing that. And where you may have fair use policies for the use of company equipment for personal use, these may not translate into business. So rather be safe than sorry. Don't use it for your business. And fourthly, be very clear on your why. Why do you even want to start this business in the first place? You need to be very clear on that, because if you're ever in a position where you have to sit down with your employer and have that conversation, you're going to be asked, why do you really want to do this? And if your why as to why you are starting the business, why you're going into this venture, why you are trying to bring this idea to life, is not strong enough, when your loyalty to your current job is being questioned, you're going to need the answer to your why to keep you motivated. Your skills and your dedication is what made you really good at your job in the first place and probably sparked your idea to go off and start a new business venture. And your drive and your motivation throughout the years has helped you maintain a really good relationship and reputation at work. And there's no way that you want to spoil that. Employers don't always understand that. They see a new business venture as divided loyalties and divided focus. So this is where you need to think about one of the most important things is being transparent, but also be very clear on your boundaries. The reputation that you have at work is going to follow you into your business. So don't give anybody ammunition to use against you. Maintain your reputation because that is your brand that will follow you everywhere. So I'd love to hear from you. Have you started a business and started to be treated differently in your place of work? Or has the thought of how you're going to be treated and how you're going to be perceived made you step back from starting a business and slowed down your progress? Drop a comment below. I would love to hear your thoughts. And if this is something that you've been struggling with, I'm always here. Drop me a message and let's have a chat. Until the next video, bye.